So, speaking of going big, Trump's big attack on higher education continued this week as another Ivy League institution rolled over. So, Brown University struck a deal to restore $500+ million in federal funds by agreeing to contribute money to the state workforce development organizations, to end programs that, quote, promote race based outcomes, quotas, and diversity targets, and to maintain men only and women only facilities and sports teams on campus. So, again, more Trump attacks on trans and other gender nonconforming individuals, as well as anything that even smacks of affirmative action. God forbid we try to increase our diversity on campuses. So Brown was one of 60 colleges and universities that the Department of Education warned earlier this month they could have their federal funding taken away over that stuff, plus alleged anti-Semitic discrimination and harassment on campus, a reason they have also used to recently crack down on Columbia, which agreed to a $200 million fine earlier in July to restore their federal funding. And University of Pennsylvania modified some school records set by transgender swimmer Leah Thomas and agreed to apologize to female athletes. So that's 3 Ivy League institutions in just the last several weeks that have caved to the Trump administration. Harvard, the most famous and most elite of the Ivy League schools, is still battling the Trump administration. Man, it kind of feels icky to cheer for Harvard as the little guy, but yet here we are. Cornell, another Ivy League institution, under attack by the White House, facing more than $1 billion in federal funding cuts. Not just the Ivy League, though. Here we have other elite institutions like Duke. The administration this week froze $108 million for them. And Northwestern, keep getting closer to home. Northwestern saw a halt of $790 million in federal funding. That goes back to April. But now, this week, UCLA has become the largest school targeted by the administration. And we're hitting even closer to home. Big state school, big research school, member of the Big Ten. The Trump administration is freezing hundreds of grants to UCLA for allegedly failing to promote an environment free of anti-Semitism and other bias. This comes days after the university settled a $6.5 million lawsuit that alleged it failed to prevent anti-Semitic behavior. In addition to UCLA, the White House is also investigating UC Berkeley and other campuses in the UC system that have faced multiple investigations this year by both the education and justice departments. There's a lot there. And Derek, I want to go back to you. It's been a while since I have talked to you here. So what sticks out to you there?
They're using a lot of the protest about Israel and Gaza and the people that are, speaking out about Israel's genocide. They're calling that anti-Semitism. It's not. It's anti-regime. I don't, as a Jew, I don't see it as them hating against my faith. It's Netanyahu. And you and I have had plenty of conversations about Netanyahu. I mean, they're trying to get rid of DEI. They're trying to get rid of trans athletes, the 7 of them that, harm normal, the normies. It's
I think it was something like 10 in the entire one division 1, 2, and 3 of the NCAA, which has hundreds of thousands of athletes. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, no, you make a really good point. It sounds like what the administration is doing is saying, if you allow any pro-Palestine sentiment, any uh, professors that teach anything that way, any protests on your campus, any of it, they're calling any pro-Palestine opinion anti-Semitism, and
Mhm.
they want it purged from these universities. Now that feels like a very slippery slope. You know, you got the anti-Semitism, you've got their kind of gender binary way of thinking. Um, you know, we've seen them going after racial diversity. Scott, what of these attacks on education strike you as the scariest?
I think he might. Oh, there we go.
Oh, can
There
we
we
hear
go.
you, Scott? Yeah.
I'm sorry. It must be a bad day for internet.
That's all right. Hey, Scott's a little choppy right now, so Jennifer, we'll come back to Scott. Let me get your thoughts on the continuing attack on higher education.
I mean, I just think it does. Trump just wants to be in control of everything. If it's not this issue, it's going to be something else. He's going to find some kind of way to make universities do whatever it is that he wants them to do, which is to produce a lot less smart people out there in the world that can have good, high paying jobs. I mean, with just everything from lower public education and healthcare, higher education, everything is just trying to dismantle people's ability to become educated, have good, high paying jobs, and have some money and vote. And so these are just one of his many ways in doing that.
They want us, yeah, they want us undereducated and desperate and just like unable to even think about what they're doing, to comprehend and to make historical parallels to this kind of fascism.
And universities are there, like when you get to the university level, like you learn why you've learned the things that you've learned up to that point. And so if you don't develop that understanding, that makes it very hard to make systematic changes out there in the world. So I have noticed, because I do some things with IU, especially related to hands and autism, and just some of the other, there's just over the last years, there's been so many programs that have been created between like communities and universities and workers and training people. And there's just been a lot of consolidation of that within universities. So like IU has a great department within their medical school for hands and autism, and they have now been combined with another program. I've yet to see programs within the universities that I participated in end, but I have seen a lot, and that have been at the federal or state level, like their funding's been cut. Not as many. It's not as easy for them to get together, group together, and find ways to maintain those programs, like we're talking about with the NPR and stuff like that. When you're straight relying, when you work for the government and you're relying on government money, I feel like you have a lot less choices with those programs.
Yeah, and boy, you know, on one hand, okay, great, they're staying away from Indiana schools, they're staying away from my alma mater, IU. But unfortunately, I think that's kind of been a case of us obeying in advance and rolling over ahead of time so they don't have a reason to come at us. Scott, have you been paying attention to IU and their precarious situation amidst all this?
I have been. I have my youngest is entering IU in the fall, so I do pay attention to it. And all of this, it's real simple. This is just like spending $180 billion over ICE for 10 years. This is setting up an ideology for the next decade. Anyone who, like, if you purge Palestine at the university level, students won't know about it. If you purge trans at the university level, again, it's an attempt to control the narrative moving forward for the next decade. And all of these universities are giving up their free speech rights. They're obeying in advance. And it is nothing. I know what you're saying about it. I can't believe I'm voting for Harvard as a little guy, but this is at least Harvard is standing up, whereas Brown and Columbia and all the rest are simply saying, yes, sir, can I have another? Right? Because once they stop on this, they'll go for something else.
Yeah,
Never
and
give in
Harvard
to a
can
bully.
because they have this massive endowment, and we do have to stand in solidarity with that incredibly elite institution as they fight back and hope they can withstand these attacks and then sort of lead the pushback that other universities can follow.